Hey, welcome. We're going to add a different type of playlist to our normal teaching, and it's going to be called Words of Wisdom. And I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, but with a lot of things going on, I haven't been able to exactly to get it like I wanted, as my mother's been sick and so on. But I want to title this in a playlist called Words of Wisdom. And a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was, or maybe last week, I read a poem that I'd been given. And down through the years in my ministry, as I started ministering back in the early 90s, many times people give you things, or you'll collect things. You'll collect papers or articles or poems and so forth. And a lot of times I would always use them. And sometimes I would get one and I would write down my thoughts on these things or on this story or whatever it might be, an article, poem, etc. And so mainly this will just mainly be reading, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of these with you periodically, and that's what I'm going to call them Words of Wisdom. And so if you look up Words of Wisdom in our playlist, that's what this will be. So without further ado, here's what I'm going to tell you today, a little story about the wise man. And now this is not the wise man in the Bible. This is a story about the wise man, or an article. And as I said, down through the years, I would run across them. A lot of times people will give you things. The thing I read last week was one that someone had given me. And so I'm just going to share some of these with you. Now, some of these, what I did was I would put my own thoughts with them. And a lot of times I just write them down. So what I'm going to begin to do is I'm going to read to you my thoughts. And then I'm going to read you the little article. And I'll close with my thoughts. So while all this is reading, this is actually me, except for the story, and we'll get to that in a minute. Today, we look at a story of a wise man. It's told to illustrate a deep meaning. As a child of God, I am not saying we will not ever worry, nor will we not ever complain. We are human. We will have our moments of weakness. It's when we realize we are in that moment that if we let God help us, we will find it much easier to handle. Here's the story. The title of this is The Wise Man. The story tells us that there was a wise man in this area that the people came to every day. They always wanted his wisdom. What do we do? How do we handle this situation? Well, it said that there was a bunch of people that came to this wise man in this one group complaining about the same problems every day. So one day he thought, I'm going to do something to take care of this. So he got them all in one little room and he told them a joke. And everyone roared in laughter. After a couple of days, the group came back. The same group. He listened. They was complaining and worrying about the same problems again. He took them to a different room. He told them the same joke. He said, this time though, only a few of them laughed. So they went on their way. Now, after another day or so, the group came back to him again, complaining, worrying, and he started to ask them, and it was about the exact same problems. He thought, this is the third time. So he takes them to a different room. And as he begins to speak, he tells them the exact same joke for the third time in a row. This time, no one laughed. They looked at the wise man and they said, this is the third straight time you've told us that joke. They said, why are you telling us this same joke over and over? The wise man looked at them and smiled and he said, if you can't laugh at the same joke over and over, why are you always worrying and complaining about the same problems over and over? While worrying, now this is my thoughts, that was the story. While worrying and complaining about things is easy not to do, or easy to instruct not to do. It is almost impossible to avoid. We know one, though, in whom we serve, who encourages us to keep looking to him. Will our problems stop? No. Is there help along the way? Yes. Worry and problems are a part of everyday life that we as humans will do. But however, the more we cast our cares and worries on him, the easier it will be to enjoy life in what is sometimes difficult situations. And the verse that I wrote all that down, and I'm just sharing you with my thoughts on that. And the verse that I wrote down at the time was 1 Peter 5:7. Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? If you can't laugh at the same thing over and over again, then why are you complaining and worrying about it over and over again? Yes, it's part of life, but it will help us if we can put our cares and worries to him and let him help us through. Hope you enjoyed that. And again, this is going to go in the Words of Wisdom playlist. These are just little things that I've had given to me or found and over the years, and I'm going to share them with you. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe. Feel free to share any video that we have, any video that we post. Feel free to share it. God loves you. God bless you. We'll catch you on the next video.